How's it going, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. This episode will be a little bit different. Rapid style format because I have about twice as many books as I typically do. I'm throwing in some books from the previous weeks. I missed you guys over the holiday season. I hope everything was well for you. I'm going to talk about some of those books here this week. Number two, if you go down below in the description, you'll find links to some of these books. If you want to check those out, you can do that and help support the channel. That would be really great. With all that said, let's get into DC first. All right, first over in DC, we have Absolute Batman Arc M issue number 1. Scott Snyder's on this one. Really cool book. It's kind of a complementary piece to the overall Absolute Batman universe. If you want to know more about Arkham Asylum, not Arc M, but Arkham Asylum, who developed it, what happened to it, all the controversy around it, some of the key players and criminals that were in there, this is definitely the book for you. It's a great supplementary piece to the world building they're already doing inside the main series. Of course, there's some cool twists and turns in there, some special inmates, some other characters they throw in there, which tie into the previous Batman book, which unleashed the origin of the Joker. So there's a lot of cool tie-in from that. So if you want the overall picture, you got to get this book. It's hot anyways. Why wouldn't you get it? It's a great one. Let me know if you read it. Absolute Martian Manhunter issue number 7 came out. Dennis Kemp on this one, Javier Rodriguez. Love being back inside this world. It does have a different tone to it. It very much has a tone of it expects the reader to understand the current situation and how John and the Martian are integrated and who the White Martian is and all the events that happened in the previous volume, of course, right? So it does make some assumptions that the reader is all up on that. So it's not a good place to jump in. Really go back and read volume number 1 because it was a spectacular story. It's very existential and crazy, but the artwork is incredible and especially the coloring and everything and how that all plays into the emotions of the character. I love volume number 1. So glad volume number 2 is coming out right now. Yeah, one of my favorite books of the year last year, continuing with number 7. Let me know if you read it. We had a few more Absolute books. We actually had Absolute Superman just recently as well. This is kind of the conclusion of the Ra's al Ghul fight. Like, what is Superman? What does Kal-El do now that that battle is over? How is Kansas? What's the world look like at this moment? We get to see the evolution of Superman, what his objectives are, how he's able to balance all the different priorities across the world. We touch base with some of the ancillary cast as well. We get to see what happened to Ra's after he's been held custody now, and kind of like the mental rehabilitation that he's going through at the moment. It reminds me of like Negan in The Walking Dead in the show and comics and whatnot, like when he's imprisoned and he's like forced to integrate with everybody, had that kind of a vibe to it. This is a different feeling book now. We have our rage somewhat under control. We're trying to balance priorities and that's driving us mad at the moment, but it's still an interesting book. We're going to see where this next chapter leads, I think. We came out of a very exciting chapter in Absolute Superman. We're going to see where it goes. Let me know what you guys thought. Next up, we had Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 15. This was the first part where they're bringing Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman together to take on whatever this common threat might be. Wonder Woman goes over to Gotham, meets Batman in a really cool way. I think one of the most interesting parts is like how those characters are going to interact. They're very different, but they're very brutal. This is the absolute world, so they would mesh a certain way, but I think Kelly Thompson does a great job of writing Wonder Woman in this world and like this version of her. She translates some of the Batman stuff fairly well. There's moments in here where I was like, I don't think he would necessarily do that or say that or whatever, but overall, as an overall package for part 1, I think their collaboration was pretty cool. It's got this dark element to it, this demonic element that like Batman's just not used to just yet, but he's fighting monsters in his own turf. So I did like the collaboration of this. I want to see where it goes from there. I think we have a Batman one coming up too, where she's going to be hanging around. I don't think they're connected, but correct me if I'm wrong. I liked it so far. Issue number 15, Absolute Wonder Woman, the first part of the crossover. Pretty cool stuff. I want to see all the characters get together and see what that looks like soon, though. Let me know what you guys thought. Continuing DC, we had Batman issue number 5. Now it's the first appearance of this new assassin-type character. You're going to see that character inside the story, particularly toward the second half of the book. There are some other characters, some ancillary characters in the title who know who this person is. Newer for the readers, for us. It's a new character, but this person apparently has been around in the DC universe before, and it was a cool introduction to the person. I love the banter in this one. Bruce takes the scientist out on a date. We saw this character in a previous issue, and it's not really a date. Is it a date? I don't know. So yeah, you get to have that question asked 100 times throughout the book. You come up with your own conclusion. It does turn into a getaway type of an issue. I love all the artwork from Jimenez and Mori on this one. I've said it before. I just love that creative team on an art side of this book. Fraction's doing a good job of just giving us a compelling, interesting Batman book. I couldn't really tell you the theme of volume number 1 besides level setting with all the different characters. I'm sure it'll get more focused as we go through and finish volume number 1. So I'm interested to see where it goes. Right now, I'm just liking the vibe and the feel and the look of the story so far. And it was kind of a hot issue, to be honest with you. I love the new characters and everything so far. Great cliffhanger. Let me know if you read it. Next up, we had DCKO Knightfight issue number 3. So I really did not like issue number 1. I didn't like the idea of Batman being taken out of the tournament. early on and then being transported to some other dimension where he has to deal with all these past relationships and this mental mind game matrix that he's in. Now, with that said, issue number 2 I thought was pretty banging. I like that one a lot. I love the art behind it. I like all the different mental challenges that he had, the different characters that he had to face, specifically with Red Hood. This is continuing that. He's becoming aware of his situation. He can kind of control it too and be zapped in and out of different scenes. And so it's kind of interesting to see him manipulating the game. The powers that be are trying to hold him in, but he's breaking all the rules. Now there is an ultimate goal. He can actually go back into the tournament if he survives this challenge. And so, of course, he's going to survive the challenge. Of course, he's going to go back into the tournament. Where, when, at what capacity, who knows, but I'm all for it right now. Issue number 3, pretty good. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's only a few more issues, maybe one more in the DC Knightfight spinoff right here. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. That'll be interesting to see where it goes, though. Let me know if you read it down below. All right, so we had Red Hood Joker issue number 1. This is the big battle issue right there. So I think we had another version of this in the Jeff Johns things, the 3 Jokers. I know we're not supposed to talk about it, but it was amazing artwork, and they did some pretty cool things with Joe Chill in that series. It was a hot mess otherwise, but we've already seen Red Hood take on the Joker to some capacity inside that book, and I really wasn't blown away by this interpretation of it. A lot of great callbacks, a lot of great nuance in the story, but it just didn't scratch that itch for me, I wouldn't say. So like I wasn't really blown away by the story itself. I didn't really enjoy the artwork in it as well. So it was kind of a letdown for me because these are 2 characters I really want to see interact a little bit more. Obviously, because of their history, it just didn't land for me. Let me know what you guys thought. All right, next up, we're going to go over to Marvel. We're going to talk about Spider-Man Noir issue number 4. I think this is the only Spider-Man book outside of Ultimate Spider-Man that I'm reading right now, and I'm really enjoying this one. I like the period piece of it. I like the aesthetic of all the characters and the vibe and the setting that we're in. It's not overly complicated with technology and everything, but it still has monstrous elements in there. There's still some great rogues that are being introduced. There's a really cool identity hiding thing going on, of course, with the Spider-Man character. Some people are in the know, some aren't, so we're trying to balance all of that. We have this detective PI element that Peter Parker has this job as a PI, so he has to protect parts of that from certain people. So it's kind of cool to live inside this era and have to deal with these issues. And I like the voice that he has in here too. We have Larson on it, so he does a great job of just giving you a true voice in the character. I love the artwork and everything too. So I'm having a good time with Spider-Man Noir, which is something I'm glad to say. I'm glad I'm enjoying a Spider-Man book right now outside of Ultimate. Let me know if you guys read this one and what you guys thought. All right, the next 2 books I'm going to kind of combine at the same time. It's a little bit difficult to talk about the one. So we have Ultimate Endgame issue number 1. This is that big blind bag that came out. Actually, I got the Peach Momoko variant. It was dinged to hell, unfortunately, like a lot of people's. But yeah, this book was interesting. There's a lot of things happening. This is actually what happens when the Maker comes out of his cage, the cage that he's been surrounded by for the past year or so. So we get to see how the heroes are preparing for that. We get to see the repercussions of what happens when the dome finally falls. Although it's a little bit ambiguous, there's a lot of crazy things happening right now. Things that did not go according to plan. So a lot of the heroes are having to bounce back from all of that. There is this cosmic element to it as well that is a little bit beyond me, to be honest with you. Like whenever Marvel goes into space, I'm vaguely familiar. Once it gets to the cosmic scale or even starts touching in some of that area, I'm pretty much thrown out of the mix. I can't really have that conversation. It just takes a while to be well-versed in those types of things. You got to have a history with a lot of different scenes and characters and things like that. So this issue didn't really do it for me. I got to be honest. It's been a 12-month or longer to almost 2-year buildup to where we are, where the Maker's going to be breaking out. Didn't really get that fulfilling moment right there. I knew there's going to be some twists and turns, so shame on me for thinking it was going to be very straightforward, but didn't really do it for me from an art point of view, from a storytelling point of view. I think it's going to take some time, maybe a couple of rereads, maybe some context of future issues to really hone in on what was going on right here. Now, the Ultimates number 19 was sort of tied into some of this. We have a very Janet and Hank-centered book. It's really following Janet and her activities leading up to these moments, some of the secret relationships she was having. Is she an undercover agent? We explore a lot of that stuff right here. Nick Fury's thrown into the mix. We touch base with a bunch of other characters on the Ultimate teams as well. So these are great companion pieces because everything's kind of happening around the same time. I couldn't even really tell you which one to read first, unfortunately, but maybe Ultimate Endgame, and then you can jump into the Ultimates and see what's going on there, because at the end of the day, it's all happening around the same time to begin with. So I think with a couple more rereads and maybe the advantage of having some future issues, seeing everything as one whole package, that will help inform me and my opinion about this ending so far. But let me know some of your thoughts and theories down below in the comments. Let me know if you read it down there. Next up is Ultimate Wolverine issue number 13. I loved issue number 12. It was one of my favorite issues of the year that was coming out, so I was really anticipating this next issue to be something grand and everything. It takes a little bit of a step back. It does focus still on Wolverine and his Sentinel that he's with, and the Phoenix Jean Grey, and they're trying to recover and hide and trying to sneak around the city, trying to find her more aid because she's injured and damaged and whatnot, and she needs more medical attention. So it is a little bit of a step back. It's more of a sneaky kind of an issue. We get some great understanding on like the Rasputins and their control and power and influence over the city that they're in right now. So a little bit of a history lesson there. And we get to see kind of the repercussions and how well rooted they are in the city and the culture towards the end of the story too. So lots of action in here, a lot of great other characters being thrown in, a lot of great slicing and dicing from Wolverine throughout the issue. So I had a good time with this one. It wasn't as, as impactful and as exciting and everything as the previous one, but it was slowed down. And it was good to kind of step back a little bit and see where we are and develop a plan for going forward. Then next up from Marvel, we have Predator Kills the Marvel Universe issue number 5. And man, I don't think I've ever been this disappointed in how a series ended, to be honest with you. I liked the premise of issue number 1. 2 was a little bit flat. 3 was okay. 4 was okay. And then 5 comes in here. It abruptly ends. The artwork is very, very weak inside this last issue, and I just didn't like the direction it was going. I loved the idea, again, like the elevator pitch is, what happens if Kraven aligns with the Predators and develops a plan to take over and destroy the world and kill all the heroes in a very strategic, methodical way. And that's where we started, but it kind of fell apart as 2 and 3 and 4 were happening, and then 5 comes and there's this abrupt ending and everything. So didn't really land the plane for me. So there are some moments where this could spin out, right? There's like a to be continued towards the end of this, but who's going to pick this up and run with it? I'm sure somebody will. Benjamin probably will, right? So we'll see what happens if we get another one soon or maybe 5 years from now. Number 5 didn't do it for me. Let me know if you guys read it. Let's go over to IDW for a few books. We have Godzilla Escape to Dead Zone. This is issue number 5, IDW proper. So we have Parker and Sheridan on this one. I love this book so much. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. It's got a great artistic feel to it as well. It's a Godzilla book without Godzilla, really, but it's still set in that same world. That Godzilla, that radiation is around. It's affected the culture. It's affected the people, how they've grown up. It's a Mad Max type of a style book, both aesthetics and just the culture that's been developed in here. Really cool ancillary characters. They're compelling. They're children. They're usually written awful, but these kids are written in a way that is just funny and humorous. And you can't help but align yourself to them. Our main protagonist is kind of a hybrid dragon monster kind of a thing, and it's cool to see him interact. He's kind of a Hellboy kind of a character. He's really grumpy, but very formidable physically. He's been around the block, you know what I mean? So he still falls for some stuff, but he's very formidable at the same time. And I love the interactions with the kids and everything else. A big trap is sprung on our main heroes right here. So they're having to go into this gladiator kind of a style building and take on these impossible threats. And it's really exciting. Love the artwork. I really love the voices of all the characters too. I want more people to read this book. Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone. Really one of the greatest books out right now. Let me know if you guys are reading it. Now, the second book from IDW is IDW Dark. We have the Twilight Zone issue number 3. So we have James Stokes on this one doing the writing, the art, the lettering, everything else inside of here. Black and white comic. Love the artwork first off. It does have a cool Twilight Zone twist, kind of a one-off style story. And it does point the reader in a certain direction and then kind of flips the script towards the end of it. And you slowly realize what is happening as the story progresses. So it was a cool revelation as to like what is really going on in here. You think you're in some medieval setting, but are you really? And how they introduce new things and how they talk about, or how he talks about like how dangerous idolizing certain things is and like what the impact could be in future generations. Really cool message behind the book. These Twilight Zone books, they're episodic. Now, they only can do so much with a single issue. They're doing a fairly good job so far. I liked issue number 2. I like issue number 3. 1 was a little bit weak, I thought, but it was still enjoyable. We're going to continue with Twilight Zone. I want to know what you guys thought, though, down below. Next up from Ignition Press, we have Arcadia issue number 2 from the Miranda Brothers. Now, I've said it before, I love the design and the aesthetic, the color choices and the artwork and everything inside the book. It's really great. The story itself is a combination of a lot of very popular things. There's a little bit of Blade Runner in there. There's a little bit of Akira in there. There's obviously some like Tron stuff or whatever, and there's some Matrix things in here too. It's a really great combination of themes, yet it does its own thing. And so I really like that a lot. We have basically this one scientist who's really sick right now. He requires a lot of energy, and he needs to be like reminded what he's doing every single day when he gets up, because he's the key to like solving a lot of these world's problems. It's like a 51st dates kind of a thing, right? She wakes up, she gets introduced to her family, she watches a video, she goes back on her mission. That's what's going on with this one main character. But he's got these other children that are around him, these like half robotic or whatever they might be, this other race of people people that are going around trying to like scavenge the land, and there's these feral creatures everywhere. So it's like a zombie movie at the same time. Again, a lot of cool ideas inside of here all mashed together to create something new and unique. So you take all of that, you add a really great design element, some great line work and art and coloring, and just, a great aesthetic and a great feel in a book, and it turns into something special. So we have 2 issues out right now. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. I can't wait to read more of it. Let me know if you are. All right, let's go over to Image next. We're going to start with No Man's Land issue number 4. Simon Kodransky on this one, came out in late December. This is the conclusion of this epic story set during the Cold War. There's Soviet spies, there's American FBI agents, there's a murder taking place on somewhat neutral ground that they're having to like figure out and tread lightly while they do that. There's this demonic element that's thrown in. Local legends are being mixed into the story as well. So all of our characters have to tread very, very lightly. There's going to be some double crossing. There's going to be double agents and a secret thing going on behind the scenes. It unfolds perfectly throughout the story. I love the imagery. I said it before. He's one of the most cinematic writers and artists out there right now. Every page looks like it's something from this classic noir movie. Love the vibe of this book. Collected edition's coming out soon, so hit it up on FOC if you haven't yet. Check out issue number 4. Let me know if you did. All right, next up from Image was Tin Can Society. We had issue number 9 come out. I think in a collected read, this is going to be a very good book overall. If you were a Wednesday warrior on this book, you had a very miserable last 6 months, I would say. The book took a break. We had a single issue that lasted about 15 seconds if you read it. We took another break, I think, and then we got the conclusion issue or something like that. We got another issue and a conclusion issue. So the month-to-month experience has been miserable for the past 6 months. If you buy this in trade, I think it's going to be a great trade read. Now, with that said, the conclusion of the story, it both worked and didn't work at the same time. I think my experience with the story at a month-to-month pace kind of ruined my overall experience. I don't care how good it could have been or should have been or was. I think I pulled a lot of baggage forward. So my excitement for issue number 9 wasn't quite there. There was some things that made sense from a legacy perspective, and so where we went and everything. Some of those moments were fine, but I felt like I forgot a lot of the story because of the release schedule. So that's a shame. I will say, again, if you pick up the collected edition, you're going to have a great time with the story overall because you get to read it all in one setting, and that's awesome. So do that. Issue number 9's out. Let me know what you guys thought. All right, next up from Image Comics, we have Escape issue number 5. We have Rick Remender on this one and Daniel Acuna on the art. One of the favorite books of last year continues very strong with issue number 5. The conversations that happen in this book, they feel so dangerous and they feel so real. It's like watching Inglourious Bastards or something like that. The tension in the room between good characters and bad characters or whatever they might be is so high and so thick. You feel afraid for these characters. You can feel the menacing acts of the evil people in the story, right? You can feel all that drama unfolding on the page. Daniel Acuna has a great way of telling just a perfect cinematic story. He brings in these splashes of color in just the right way, this lighting effect that he has. Visually, the book is outstanding. Rick Remender's doing an amazing job just creating a dramatic story as well. And it's high stakes, high paced, lots of energy in here too. Then there's these quiet moments where you can kind of put yourself into those vibes. The book is amazing. I love this one so much. Issue number 5 is out. Make sure you're reading it. All right, next up from Invader Comics, we have Do Not Disturb issue number 1. Now, this is a really cool story. If you like detective noir kinds of murder mysteries, like a little bit of spooky elements, some kind of a spiritual thing going on, I think this is going to be a book for you. I really enjoyed the imagery inside the book too. We have some epic shots of the different characters and how they integrate with the scenes. There's this ghostly spiritual element, like I mentioned before, keeping this detective where he is. He's on a mission right now to find a missing girl. He thinks he's going down the right path, but the environment around him is almost like an enemy in itself. And it's kind of introducing some spirits and ghosts and things like that and transporting him around, changing his environment. So he has to deal with all that as well as go on his main mission. Really cool idea right there to kind of throw all those different things at our character and at the reader. Really liked all that. Going back to the art and just the overall vibe and feel of the book, it reminds me of Greg Smallwood in a way with the coloring and how things are shot and how things are laid out. Love all of that. Aesthetically, it's a very interesting book and there's a lot of cool things happening in the story part of it too. So if you're in the noir stuff, if you like a spiritual element in your comics, you might want to check this one out. Let me know if you did. Then lastly, we're going to wrap it up with Titan Comics. We have Conan Scourge of the Serpent issue number 4. So Jim Zub and team are doing a great job at having Conan proper do its own thing, right? It's an ongoing series. It's going to be spinning off. There's going to be some one-shots here and there. Every once in a while, though, you're going to get a hint as to an event's coming up. When that event does, it's going to spin off into a 4-issue series, or that's the pattern so far, while Conan proper still kind of churns in the background with some one-off kind of episodic stories. So Scourge of the Serpent was an interesting one. It was 4 issues. It had to deal with present, past, past and future, so to speak, and the characters are having to deal with this serpent, spiritual thing throughout their age, right? And so they have to combat it in the way that's possible for them, and they all do so in some meaningful way, and they all move on and they grow from that. What's really cool in these Conan books is there's always this other threat, this like puppet master that's kind of over everything, and that's still very much alive in here to be picked up and elaborated on in the future. I didn't really know that Conan got that cosmic, to be honest with you. There is this element inside this book, which was surprising. This like, how are we going to deal with this kind of a thing? Like even the Avengers or somebody like that. Reed Richards would have a hard time with something like this. And so it's going to be fun to see how that character evolves and what that actually means. Maybe another writer will pick it up in the distant future, something like that. But I love the episodic nature of this. I love the man versus nature, man versus himself feel that Jim puts in all of his books. And the events are cool. And I like the way that they're structured with the proper titles as well. They continue on. The events just pop in for a few issues and they pop out. They're not too time consuming, but they're always great quality books. Gil on the art, spectacular. Love the art, love the coloring inside the stories, and I feel like I'm getting my money's worth when I read Conan every single time, and it's great to be in a place where Conan is so strong right now for so long. Love all the creative teams. Great issue. Let me know if you read it. All right, guys, that's what I read this week and the last couple of weeks. I really appreciate that. Let me know down below what you read and what your favorite books of the week are, and if you want to check any of these out, I'll have links below in the description. You can help support the channel that way. But as always, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the comments.